Okay, so this is a recorded video for output VAT. So sa previous topic natin which is VAT, medyo napahapyawan na natin kahit papaano yung output VAT. Okay, output VAT is the VAT that is being charged to um, sales. Okay, so perspective ka ng seller tapos ikaw yung nagbebenta, doon ka mag-charge ng output VAT which is 12%. Okay? So sources of regular output VAT, we have sale of goods. Okay? So kapag nagbenta ka, magpapatong ka pa dapat ng 12% of your total sales, I mean total selling price of your goods. Okay. Illustration number 1. Um, in June 2019, ABC Corporation made the following sales. We have cash sales, sales on account, and installment sales. Okay. Take note, kapag sale of goods, there is a transfer, physical transfer na ng goods. Alright? So, ang basis na natin dito is the gross selling price, whether fully collected or not. Gross selling price, whether, tama ba spelling? Collected or not. Okay. Kasi na-transfer na yung item. So, ibig sabihin, naibigay mo na sa customer yung ownership ng goods. May physical transfer tayong pinag-uusapan. Okay? So, sabi niya dito, meron tayong cash sales 200,000, sales on account, utang 80,000 ang nakolekta, we have 100,000, and we have installment sales of 120,000 of 300,000 from which 120 yung nakolekta natin. Okay. Magkano ang output VAT natin for this scenario illustration? Sabi, gross selling price whether collected or not kapag sale of goods. Goods yung binenta. So, yung buong 600,000 will be subjected to output VAT whether or not collected yan or hindi lahat. 600,000 times 12,000, you have 72,000 pesos. Okay. So, kunwari, naisip mo, gusto mo mong mapababa yung output VAT, puwede bang ang gawin na lang ninyo ni as a seller at saka ni customer, mag-usap na lang kayo na sabihin mo kay kung ikaw si seller, sabihin mo kay buyer, "Uy buyer, papalabasin natin na mas mababa ko ibebenta sa'yo 'to para mas, maliit lang yung output VAT na babayaran mo." Okey, may lusot pa ba tayo doon? Siyempre wala, matalino si si government, okey? So for transactions with unreasonably lower selling price, um, okay. Basically, yung VAT on sale of goods is normally based on gross selling price. Okay, kung magkano mo siya binenta. However, kapag yung fair market value is mas mataas compared dun sa selling price, dapat pag-isipan mo muna kung ano yung magiging basis mo ng output VAT. Okay? Kapag yung fair market value is I mean, kapag yung gross selling price is 30% or more, is 30% lower or more lower than the actual fair market value of the goods, kailangan ang gagamitin nating basis would be the fair market value. Okay? Tignan natin. Illustration number 1. A VAT registered seller made the following sales of goods to private customers during the month. Say customer A, B at C. Ito yung selling price and ito yung fair market value. Kung mapapansin natin yung sale natin with customer A and customer C are lower compared um, ito kasi selling price binenta mo ng 150 pero ang true value niya was 180. So mas mababa sila sa fair market value, right? But hindi naman ibig sabihin na mas mababa sa fair market value is ang magiging basis na natin is the fair market value. You have to assess first if the selling price is 30% is more than 30% lower um, compare doon sa fair market value. So, paano natin kukumputin yun? So, you divide the selling price versus the fair market value. Okay? Para makuha mo kung ilang percentage ng fair market value yung selling price. Okay? So, 150,000 divided by 180,000, that is 83%. 83% ng fair market value yung selling price kay A. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong 17% discount. Mas mababa ng 17% yung selling price sa fair market value. Okay? So 17% is still lower compared to 30%. So ang basis na gagamitin natin dito is still the selling price. Selling price. Okay. Si letter B wala tayong issue kasi mas mataas yung selling price compared to the fair market value. So this one, it's still the selling price. Si customer C, i-divide natin si 102 to 150,000, that would be 68%. So magkano yung naging discount niya? That's 32%, which is higher compared to 30% na allowable discount natin. Okay? Since this is 32%, which is higher dun sa threshold natin, ang gagamitin na nating basis for output VAT for the sale to C would be the fair market value, thus 150. Okay? Total ninyo yan, that's 500,000 times 12%. Ang output VAT ni VAT registered seller is 60,000. Okay? Next. Sandali lang ha. Okay. So let's go back. Pasensya na for that short commercial break. Okay, so let's proceed to illustration number 3. Okay, so however, there is an exemption to the rule. Okay, may exemption to the rule tayo dito sa unreasonably lower selling price. Nonetheless, if one party is government, o kapag ang katransact daw or ang pinagbentahan ay isang government unit, okay lang ha, the output VAT shall be based on the actual selling price regardless kung lower ba siya doon sa fair market value. Okay, tignan natin. Illustration 3. A VAT registered seller made the following sales at unreasonably lower selling prices. Okay, so compute for the output VAT. Nagbenta daw tayo kay City of San Fernando, which is basically a government. So ang basis natin ng tax dito is kahit makompute natin na more than 30% lower yan to 200K is still 130,000. Okay? Kasi nga government unit. Sale to private entities naman, 100,500, fair market value is 150,000. So you compute first, 100,500 divided by 150,000. Ano ang ilang percent yan? Dali. Oops. Ulit. Mhm. Divided by 150,000, that is 67%. So, ang naging discount niya is 33%, right? Lang, bakit ayaw? Wait lang po ha. Nawawala yung mouse ko. Ayan. So, this is 33% lower than the fair market value. Okay? So, Since more than 30%, ang gagamitin natin is the fair market value, thus 150,000. 134 plus 150, 284 times 12%, our output VAT will be 34,080 pesos. Okay? Next, sale of services. Pag services, okay, at ang tatandaan ninyo ha, pag services, wala kasi tayong ebidensya na na-render na natin yung service. Okay? So, unlike sa sale of goods and services, I mean sa sale of goods, may physical existence yung binenta mo, dito sa sale of services, wala. Thus, yung 12% VAT will be based on receipts and collection. Okay ha? Pag goods, regardless of collected or not, gross selling price yung gagamitin. Pag services, since hindi mo mapatunayan na na-render mo na yung service, magbe-base ka sa kung ano yung na-receive mo from the customer. Receipts, okay, or collection. A VAT registered repairman had the following revenue and collection during the month. Client A for services rendered, billing for materials and service fee. Okay. For services, billing for materials. Okay. Rev ang Ang revenue mo daw for that item is 200,000, pero ang na-collect mo is 200,000, so wala ka ng balance. This is fully paid. For service fee, the revenue is 100,000 and you've collected 50,000. So may balance pang 50,000. So ano ngayon ang basis ng 12%? Again, your basis is gross receipts or collection. Thus, your basis will be the 250,000. 250,000. Tapos meron ka pang from client B, which is work not yet started on a 500,000. May revenue ka na ba? Wala pa. Hindi mo pa nagagawa yung trabaho pero ng advance payment, may collection ka. So, i-add mo din yan. 250 plus 200,000 is equals to 450,000 times 12%, that's 54,000. Kung mapapansin nyo, it's somewhat follow yung cash basis of accounting. 'Di ba? Naka-base ka hindi kung kailan na-earn mo yung revenue, but you are basing your, output VAT kung ano yung amount na nakolekta mo for the period, okay? Sale of properties, okay. So, sale of properties by a dealer, developer, or lessor of real estate. Again ha, dito yung mga talagang nagbebenta ng mga, properties, kumbaga no ordinary course of business nila yan, okay? So, the VAT is subject to gross selling price. Okay? So, ano ang basis natin ng kung okay, sige. So, ano ba yung gross selling price natin? Gross selling price is the amount higher of the selling price, pinagbentahan, or the fair market value. Okay? Yung fair market value, may dalawa pang ibig sabihin yan. Whichever is higher dun sa ating zonal value at saka assess value. Okay. So kung titignan ninyo, it's a comparison of your selling price versus zonal value versus assess value. Kung ano yung pinakamataas, yun po yung kukunin natin at magiging basis natin ng VAT. Okay. Mr. Ramos, a realty dealer, sold a commercial lot in June for the current year. The following relates to the sale. Meron tayong appraisal value, zonal value, assess value, at selling price. Una, compare natin selling price versus fair market value. We have 3.8 here, and then the fair market value, compare natin. Fair market value is higher between your zonal value and your assess value. Sino bang mas higher? Eh, di si 4 million. You compare 4 million and 3.8, mas mananaig si zonal value. So your VAT will be based on your zonal value of 4 million pesos, that is equivalent to 480,000 output VAT. Okay? So ulit, selling price versus fair market value. Ano yung fair market value? Fair market value is higher between zonal value and assess value. Assess value guys, zonal value I think yan yung um, ina-assess, hindi naman. Paano ba natin sabihin ng ang zonal value? Usually nagde-declare yan munisipyo eh. Okay? Yung appraisal value kasi ginagamit yan ng mga real estate appraiser, and then the assessed value is yung appraiser na nasa munisipyo din, okey? So meron silang zonal value at saka assessed value, okey? Sale of properties considered as ordinary assets. 'Pag sinabi nating ordinary assets, ito yung hindi held for investments or capitalization. In short, ginagamit po natin sa day-to-day operations ng isang entity, okey? Okey. XYZ Food Corporation, a VAT taxpayer, sold the following properties. Okay. Kapag nagbenta ka ng asset used in the ordinary course of business that will be subjected to VAT. Exception to the rule is yung properties that are held as capital assets. Wait lang po ha. So, nagbenta daw siya ng old factory worth 1.3 million and a vacant land held as an investment. Okay. Anong Ano ang subject sa output VAT? Ang subject sa output VAT is yung asset that are used in the ordinary course of business. For this case is yung 1.3 million pesos. Okay? Hindi yung 1.5 ang gagamitin natin kasi pag sinabi natin book value, yan yung nasa books of accounts natin, which is in some ways mas mataas talaga sila compared doon sa true value ng factory. So selling price ang gagamitin natin for this one. Okay, so ang output VAT natin is 156,000. Okay? Sale of property not in the ordinary course of business. Since not in the ordinary course of business, these are considered exempt from VAT. Bakit? Remember, VAT is a business tax. Oh, 'di ba? Business tax, 'di ba? Kung hindi naman in line of business or hindi mo ginagamit sa ordinary course of business yung item na binebenta, that will be exempt from VAT. It will be subject though from capital gains tax. Okay? Next, um, sale of real property on installment plan. Okay, so kapag nagbenta yung mga real estate dealers natin ng for instance, yung units sa subdivision, 'di ba usually naka-installment 'yan. Para ma-consider yung output VAT as also on installment, kailangan yung total amount nung binayad nila during the first year will not exceed 25% of the selling price. Okay? To illustrate further, ito po yung illustration natin. On August 1, 2019, a real property dealer sold a commercial lot with the following data: may zonal value, assessed value, and selling price of 5 million. A down payment, okay, i-highlight ko lang to ha. Sige na nga. A down payment of 500,000 was paid with a balance due in 36 monthly installments of 125 starting September 1, 2019. Okay. So, basically, ang output VAT nito is the highest, is based on the highest amongst these three, which is napag-aralan natin kanina. 6 million times 12%, 720,000 yung magiging VAT. Kung babayaran mo yan, kung ikaw si customer, at installment yung bayad mo, tapos yung output VAT mo one time, big time, parang ang laki, 'di ba? So, ang rule natin sa taxation, kailangan i-compute mo muna kung yung initial payment during the first year will not constitute or will not exceed the 25% threshold of the selling price. Ano-ano ba yung mga payments during the first year? 2019. Siyempre, yung August, naka-receive ka ng 500,000 and then succeeding months is 125. We have September, October, November, and December. Total of which is 1 million pesos. Magkano yung selling price mo? Again, the basis is selling price ng 25%. Okay, but the output VAT, ang basis is yung highest amongst these three. Okay? 1 million divided by 5 million, that's 20%. So, ibig sabihin, it does not exceed the 25% of the selling price. Thus, pasok ka pa, considered ka pa as installment sale. So, ano mangyayari sa output VAT mo? Okay. Yung 720,000, hindi mo yun babayaran one time, big time. Okay? Ang mangyayari is since hindi ka nag-exceed dun sa 25% threshold, magiging installment din po yung output VAT mo. Okay, paano yon? 'Di ba? Nung August 2019, you have 500,000. Divide mo 'yan sa selling price para makuha mo yung ratio. Okay? I-multiply mo 'yan doon sa actual output VAT. Should be output VAT for this transaction. Ang babayaran mong output VAT nung August 2019 will be 72,000. And then from September till matapos yung iyong hulog, that's 125 divided by 5 million times 720, that's 18,000 pesos. Okay? So, magkano ang ibibill ni seller after the down payment? So, 125 plus 18,000, ang monthly billing mo is 143,000 pesos. Okay? Ayan. So, ito po, kung installment yung output VAT mo, magbabayad ka ng 72,000 sa August, 90,000 ng September kasi this is quarterly ha, this is quarterly, okay? So, kung titignan ninyo 72 plus 18, that's 90,000 kasi quarterly yan. And then 8 to 18, 18 plus another 18,000 kaya naging 54 po yung December kasi this is quarterly. Okay? Sale of property by realty dealer on a deferred payment basis. O paano naman kapag nag-exceed yung initial payment on its first year dun sa 25%. So for instance, ito, ang initial payment on 2019 is 1.2 pero ang selling price mo is 4 million pesos. Okay? That's 30% ratio. Okay? So ano ang mangyayari? Kailangan mong i-remit one time, big time on the date of sale yung actual output VAT. Okay, magkano ba yung output VAT natin? ABC Realty Corporation sold residential property with fair market value of 5 million for 4 million, whichever is higher, fair market value or selling price. Fair market value of 5 million. 5 million times 12%, that is, magkano yun? Magkano na nga ba? 600,000, okay? Yung 600,000 since hindi nag-qualify as installment 'yan, kailangan bayaran mo 'yan ng buo on the date of the transaction which is on August. Kaya kung mapapansin niyo dito sa VAT, um, report natin, sa kanyang, VAT payable form, yung 600,000 one time lang niyang dineclare in August. Hindi niya in-installment 'yan ng September, October, November, and December. Ma'am, bakit meron sa September? Again, this is quarterly. Oh, magkano ba yung, output VAT for the quarter? That is 600,000. Okay? So again ha, remember yung threshold nating 25% at saka 30%. Next, interest and penalties actually or constructively received by the seller are likewise subject to VAT. So, 'di ba, meron tayo sometimes mga hinuhulugan tapos kapag hindi tayo nakahulog, bibigyan tayo ng interest and penalties. So, yung collection ni seller regarding interest and penalties will also be subjected to VAT. So, sino ang magbabayad nun? At the end of the day, it's still the customer, so kawawa. Kawawa tayo. Okay? Ramos, a VAT taxpayer, made the sale of real property with fair market value of 3 million for 2 million pesos, which is 2 million pesos. The 360 output VAT on the sale qualified for installment reporting. During the month, Mac Ramos is due to receive the following net of VAT. So we have 200,000, 12,000, and 4,000 pesos. So ito talaga yung kanyang sales, 216. Lahat po yan will be subjected to VAT. Okay? So installment, magkano ba yung naging selling price natin? It's 200,000 divided by 2 million, that is 10% times 360,000 yung actual output VAT natin. Kasi paano ba nakuha yung 360? Ito, 3M times 12%. Okay. Pero ang selling price natin 2 million, 'di ba? So kunin mo yung proportion niyan times 360, that's 36,000 pesos yung na-output VAT. 12,000 yung nakolekta niyang interest at penalty, multiply mo lang ng 12%. Okay? Total output VAT is 37,920. So magkano ang babayaran ni customer ni Mac Ramos? Okay, 216 plus 37,920. 'Di ba ang laki? Kung ikaw yung magbabayad niyan, kung ikaw yung customer niyan, 'di ba mabigat? Mabigat. Total billing would be 253,920. Okay? Okay. Transaction deemed sale. Ito yung mga supposed to be sale pero hindi pinapalabas na sale. Okay? So, these are transactions which are acquisitions in nature but are not coursed through a purchase transaction by a customer. So, number one, transfer or use or consumption not in the ordinary course of goods or properties originally intended for sale or for use in the ordinary course of business. So, for instance, nagbebenta ako ng damit. Okay? Dumating yung aking inaanak. Siyempre, kukuha ako ng ireregalo ko dun sa inaanak ko, sa store ko. Oh, binigay ko sa kanya. Will that be subjected to VAT? Yes, kasi ang binibenta ko ay damit. Ordinary course of business. It's as if bumili ako sa store ko. So that will also be subjected to 12% VAT. Okay? So tingnan natin yung example. A realtor transferred the following ownership of a residential property which was held for sale. Oh, ito, nagbebenta daw siya ng mga lupa to his daughter who was getting married. Pinamanahan niya yung anak niya na kasi kinasal, sana all, 'di ba? The property had a cost basis of 2 million and fair market value of 2.5. So anong basis natin? Higher. O, di 2.5. Oh, hindi ba niya dapat nating i-charge ng VAT kasi sa kanya naman yung property at saka sa anak naman niya binigay. Siyempre, hindi naman niya binilhan yung sarili niya, 'di ba? This is considered a deemed sale kasi nga pinasa mo sa iba. Pero binili mo kasi nga the properties it was originally held for sale. So the output VAT will be 2.5 million times 12%, that's 300,000. Okay? Letter B. Distribution or transfer to. Okay, shareholders or investors a share in profits of the VAT-registered person or creditors in payment of debt or obligation. So dito papasok yung dasyon in pago. It's dasyon in pago. Okay, so dasyon in pago, may utang ka or may utang ka or may obligation ka to pay money, pero in exchange para ma-offset yung obligation nyo, you use another form of payment. Like for instance, may utang sa akin yung friend ko na 100,000 pesos. Okay. Sabi niya, "O sige Mars, hindi ko nababayaran yung utang ko sa'yo ng 100,000 pesos." Wow, talaga ba? 100,000 pesos. Pero ang kapalit nun is, um, bentahan na lang kita ng kotse. O, 'di ba? Bentahan daw niya ako ng kotse. Kunwari yung kotse 100,000 din, okey? Siyempre sa point of view niya, subject to VAT pa yung kotse, okey? So, kasi it's as if benta niya sa'kin, eh, yun nga lang binabayad niya sa utang, okey? So, gano'n din kapag nag-release tayo ng profits through property sa mga shareholders or nagbayad tayo ng kautangan using, um goods or services na pino-provide ng company natin, that will still be subjected to VAT. Okay? Consignment of goods if actual sale is not made within the 60-day following such sale, goods were consigned. Okay. Pag consignment of goods, pinapabenta lang doon kay consignee ang mga items, right? Kapag lumagpas daw po ng 60 days period kay consignee yung item, that is considered as deemed sale. Okay, kasi ang iniiwasan ni BIR dito is that tama nga naman kapag puwedeng sabihin ni consignee na, "Ay hindi pa nabenta," kahit nabenta na. So, nade-delay nila yung pagbabayad ng output VAT. So, naglagay sila ng taning na 60 days, okay. Then transaction. A VAT-registered taxpayer has its own sales of operation but also sells goods through consignees. It also sells goods on consignment for a commission. The following are the results of the operations for the month April 30, 2019. Okay. Ano ba yung mga subjected dito sa VAT? Sale of inventories, 500,000. Sales reported by consignees. Okay? And sales on behalf of consignor. Ito talaga yung actual na benta natin. Kay consignee, siya yung um, ano ba 'to, siya yung sa kanya dine-display siya si SM. Okay, so that's 150. And then commission income on goods sold for consignors, that's 200,000. So ano ba dito yung subjected to VAT? This includes your 500,000 na inventories, yung sales on behalf of consignors kasi these are actual sales na, and then the commission income of 20,000 pesos. That's your total sales and receipts. Okay? However, kung makikita niyo dito, meron daw tayo mga outstanding consignments. Meron pa tayo ng February, o lumagpas na ba yan ng 60 days? Kasi April tayo, April 30. O lumagpas na yan ng 60 days. So itong 50,000 is considered na as deemed sales. Okay? Idadagdag mo na yan sa total sales or receipts that will be subjected to output VAT. So, 670 plus 50,000 times 12%, that is 86,400 output VAT. Okay? Kasi puwede namang i-declare ang mangyayari diyan kapag hindi natin sinama 'yan as deemed sale, o 'di papalabasin ko na lang na hindi pa nabebenta, o 'di ba nade-delay yung output VAT. Remember, lifeblood theory ng taxation kaya dapat hindi 'yan nade-delay. Okay. Next, retirement from cessation of business with respect to all goods on hand, whether capital goods. O ito po yung mga nagsara na. Okay? Nagsara na yung business nila at binibenta na nila yung kanilang mga assets. Okay? So that will also be subjected to 12% VAT kasi as if nagbenta talaga sila. Mr. Ramos, a VAT registered taxpayer, ceased operations in May 2019. His business properties upon the termination of business. Wait lang ha. Ang kanyang mga properties, okay. Guys, ang puwede lang nating mabenta dito is yung may physical existence. Yung cash or investments are actually intangible. Intangible, hindi mo talaga nakahawakan yung value niyan. Sige nga, bumili ka nga ng cash tapos cha-charge-an pa ng output VAT. 'Di ba, ang unfair? So, ang puwede lang yung mabenta dito is the inventories and the property, plant, and equipment. So, 200,000 plus 800,000, that's 1,000,000 times 12%, ang output VAT lang dito is 120,000. Okay. Okay. So, okay, dito na tayo, kayo na magbasa niyan. Mac Corporation, a VAT taxpayer, declared its goods inventory with a production cost of 400,000 but with a sales value of 600,000 as dividends to its shareholders. O, para lang din tong dasyon and pago, meron kang obligation to your shareholders. So, yung binenta mong goods will be subjected to 12% VAT as well. Okay? techniques. Ramos Corporation, a VAT-registered lessor or commercial spaces, declared its stock investment in another corporation with a total cost of 2 million, but with a current value of 2.3 million as dividends to its shareholders. Okay. Lessor declared share investment, but with a current 2.3. So ano ang magiging basis natin? Binenta niya na, eh. Okay. Hindi naman kasi properties ang binigay niya in exchange of the pera. Ang binenta niya dito is stock investment and meron tayong separate rule pagdating sa, pagbebenta ng stock investments. It will not be subjected to output VAT. Okay? Percentage tax 'yan ang alam ko. Transactions deemed sales, okay? Not deemed sales. Okay, so if these are considered as transactions not deemed sales. Change of control of a corporation by the acquisition of the controlling interests of such corporation by another stockholder or group of stockholders. Kasi hindi na, ano to eh, transfer involving capital assets. So, hindi po ito considered as deemed sales. Kasi hindi man talaga tayo nagbebenta ng stocks as a business, di ba? Stocks are ownership, not stocks hindi inventory ang stocks. Okay. So, change in the trade or corporate name of the business and merger or consolidation of corporations. These are not transactions not deemed sales. Okay. So, invoicing requirements on deemed sales, dapat daw po is yung invoice nakalagay pa rin doon na meron tayong consideration for VAT. Illustration 15, tignan natin. Mac Corporation, a non-VAT merchandising business, made the following sales and consignment during the period. Okay, tignan ninyo. Non-VAT siya. So, ibig sabihin, wala siya dapat i-remit or i-charge na output VAT sa kanyang customers. This will be subjected to percentage tax. Okay? At para lang doon sa mm, mm, percentage tax para sa kanyang normal business lang, ordinary course of business, which is yung sale of goods. Okay? Okay. Kayo na magbasa nitong summary ha. Okay. Billing requirement for output VAT. So ito po yung example ng official receipt natin. Sa official receipt requirement po ng BIR na nakalagay yung date, kung kailan mo na-receive yung payment, kung kanino mo binenta, yung TIN nung nagbenta, description ng item at saka yung um, um, the amount net of VAT. Okay, amount net of VAT. Kung 100,000 yan, lagay mo dito 100,000 sa total. Tapos dito mo ilalagay yung 12% na VAT. Kunwari, vatable sales yan. Okay, lalagay mo siya 100,000 dito. Sige na nga. Ayan. O, vatable lahat yan. Lagay mo dito 100,000. Tapos total sales 100,000 din. And then i-declare mo yung 12% VAT which is 12,000 pesos. Total invoice amount is 112,000 pesos. Okay? Requirement po ito pag nagre-resibo. Determination of output VAT, na-compute na natin to kanina. So kapag meron kang na-receive na invoice price, for instance, a VAT taxpayer sold goods for 163,352 at wala namang sinabi na exclusive of VAT, ang assumption natin is included na dyan yung VAT. This represents the 112%. Remember? Kasi yung 100% is the selling price plus 12% na VAT. So, i-divide mo to by 1.12% para makuha mo yung sales net of VAT at i-multiply mo itong amount na to sa 12% para makuha mo yung output VAT. Okay? And then you add that both to para makuha mo yung invoice price. Zero-rated sales, na-discuss na natin yan dun sa kabilang video for VAT and na-discuss na rin natin yung VAT exemption versus zero rating. Ang pagkakaiba lang ng VAT exemption is yung consider at zero rating is consideration of the input VAT. Pag VAT exempt yung sales natin, wala tayong i-claim na input VAT. Pag zero rated yung sales natin, meron tayong makiklaim na input VAT and that will be tantamount to a tax credit. Okay, so I think categories of zero-rated sales, usually meron siyang relationship sa export business. So basahin niyo na lang but usually ganun po yun. And that's the end of your output VAT. Okay?